Business communication. Table of content. Introduction. Chapter 1. Foundations of business communication. Chapter 2. Interpersonal communication skills. Chapter 3. Written business communication. Chapter 4. Verbal and presentation skills. Chapter 5. Cross-cultural and global business communication. Chapter 6. Digital and virtual communication. Chapter 7. Crisis communication and conflict management. Chapter 8. Leadership and strategic communication. Chapter 9. Branding and external communication. Chapter 10. Measuring and improving business communication. Conclusion. Mastering business communication. Introduction. In today's fast-paced, interconnected world, business communication is more than just the exchange of information. It is the lifeblood of every successful organization. Whether you are pitching to investors, negotiating with clients, leading a team meeting, or writing an internal memo, the way you communicate determines how ideas are received, decisions are made, and relationships are built. Great products and brilliant strategies fail every day because their value is not communicated effectively. Conversely, average ideas sometimes thrive because they are presented with clarity, confidence, and persuasion. Mastering communication is not optional. It is the skill that sets apart exceptional professionals and thriving businesses. This book is designed to be your comprehensive guide to business communication. Across its chapters, you will learn how to build trust and rapport with colleagues and clients, write with clarity, purpose, and professionalism, deliver presentations that inspire and persuade, navigate cultural differences in a globalized business environment, harness digital tools to collaborate more efficiently, manage crises, resolve conflicts, and lead with confidence. Measure and continuously improve your communication efforts. Each chapter includes practical strategies, real-world case studies, and exercises to help you apply what you learn. Whether you are a student preparing to enter the workforce, a professional looking to advance your career, or a leader aiming to inspire teams, this book will give you the tools to become a powerful communicator. Business communication is not just a professional skill. It is a competitive advantage. When you communicate effectively, you influence decisions, shape perceptions, and drive action. Let's embark on this journey together and unlock the full potential of your communication skills. Chapter 1. Foundations of Business Communication. 1.1 What is business communication? Business communication refers to the exchange of information, ideas, and messages within and outside an organization to achieve business goals. It involves verbal, nonverbal, and written communication between employees, managers, clients, suppliers, and stakeholders. At its core, business communication serves three main purposes: informing, sharing relevant and timely information; persuading, influencing decisions or motivating action; collaborating, enabling teams and departments to work toward common objectives. Effective communication is not just about transmitting information. It's about ensuring the message is understood, acted upon, and aligned with organizational goals. 1.2 The role of communication in business success. Communication is often called the lifeblood of business. Without it, decision-making stalls, conflicts escalate, and productivity plummets. Good communication improves efficiency. Clear instructions reduce errors. Builds trust. Transparent communication fosters strong relationships. Drives innovation. Open communication encourages idea sharing. Enhances reputation. Professional communication strengthens brand image. 1.3 Elements of the communication process. The communication process involves several key elements. Sender, the person initiating the message. Message, the information being conveyed. Channel, the medium, email, call, face-to-face, report, etc. Receiver, the person or group interpreting the message. Feedback, the response from the receiver confirming understanding. Noise, any interference that distorts the message. Understanding this model helps professionals identify where breakdowns might occur. 1.4 Types of business communication. Business communication can be categorized as internal communication, vertical, from management to employees downward or employees to management upward, horizontal, between peers or departments, external communication, with clients, vendors, investors, media, and regulators. Formal versus informal communication. Formal, official memos, reports, presentations. Informal, conversations, instant messages, casual discussions. 1.5 Barriers to effective communication. Even in the best organizations, communication can fail. Common barriers include language differences, jargon, slang, or technical terms, cultural misunderstandings, norms, tone, etiquette, information overload, too many emails, too much data, poor listening habits, emotional interference, stress, anger, fear. Overcoming these barriers requires conscious effort, empathy, and systems that encourage clarity. 1.6 Case Study 1. The cost of poor communication. Company, a mid-sized software firm. Situation: the product development team received unclear specifications from management. Developers interpreted requirements differently, leading to a product that did not meet customer needs. The launch was delayed by 3 months, costing the company an estimated $500,000 in lost revenue. Analysis: the sender, management, did not confirm understanding. There was no feedback loop to clarify requirements. Written documentation was insufficient and inconsistent. Lesson: implementing structured communication channels, regular check-in meetings, requirement documentation templates could have prevented the delay and financial loss. 1.7 Case Study 2. Communication as a competitive advantage. Company, global logistics provider. Situation: the company invested in improving internal communication by introducing a centralized digital platform for project collaboration. This allowed real-time updates, reduced email dependency, and made project ownership transparent. Results: project turnaround times improved by 25%. Employee satisfaction scores increased. Customer complaints dropped significantly due to fewer errors. Lesson: clear, accessible, and real-time communication tools can create measurable business results. 1.8 Key Takeaways. Communication is not just a soft skill, it is a critical business function. Miscommunication can be extremely costly, in both money and reputation. Structured communication processes and feedback loops prevent errors. Organizations that prioritize clear, transparent communication gain a competitive edge. 1.9 Discussion questions. Can you think of an example from your workplace or studies where poor communication caused a problem? What could have been done differently? How does your organization currently encourage feedback? How could it be improved? What tools or technologies could help streamline communication in your team? 1.10 Practical exercise. Map out the communication flow for a recent project in your organization. Identify at least 3 points where miscommunication could have occurred. Propose one solution for each point. This exercise will help you visualize communication patterns and proactively address potential breakdowns. Chapter 2. Interpersonal Communication Skills. 2.1 Introduction. Interpersonal communication is the cornerstone of effective business relationships. It involves the exchange of information, feelings, and meaning through verbal and nonverbal messages in face-to-face or virtual settings. In business, the quality of interpersonal communication can determine the success of negotiations, teamwork, and leadership. 2.2 the importance of interpersonal skills in business. Builds trust. Open and honest communication fosters strong professional relationships. Enhances collaboration. Teams with good interpersonal communication resolve conflicts quickly. Improves customer relations. Active listening and empathy improve client satisfaction. Supports leadership. Leaders who communicate well inspire and motivate employees. 2.3 Core components of interpersonal communication. Active listening. Active listening means fully concentrating on the speaker, understanding their message, and responding thoughtfully. Techniques. Maintain eye contact. Use verbal nods, I see, that makes sense. Paraphrase to confirm understanding. Avoid interrupting. Empathy. Empathy allows you to understand another person's perspective. In practice, listen beyond words, observe tone and body language. Validate emotions without necessarily agreeing. Adjust your response based on the other person's needs. Clarity and conciseness. Business communication must be clear and to the point. Avoid jargon unless the audience shares the same expertise. Use short sentences and simple vocabulary. Organize thoughts logically, start with the main point. Persuasion. Persuasion is crucial for influencing decisions and motivating action. Elements of persuasion. Ethos, build credibility. Pathos, appeal to emotions. Logos, present logical arguments. Nonverbal communication. Body language, facial expressions, tone and gestures often communicate more than words. Maintain open posture. Use gestures naturally. Match tone of voice to message intent. 2.4 Barriers to effective interpersonal communication. Distractions, noise or multitasking. Prejudgment, assuming what the other person will say. Emotional triggers, letting anger or stress distort your response. Cultural differences, misinterpreting gestures or tone. Digital miscommunication, misreading tone in emails or chats. 2.5 Case Study 1, The Power of Active Listening. Company, healthcare services provider. Situation, a nurse manager noticed tension between nurses during shift changes. Complaints were escalating, causing delays. Action, the manager implemented structured listening sessions where nurses could voice concerns without interruption. She summarized key points back to the team to ensure understanding. Result, misunderstandings reduced. Morale improved. Shift change efficiency increased. Lesson, active listening can transform conflict into collaboration. 2.6 Case Study 2, Misinterpreted emails. Company, international tech firm. Situation, a project manager sent an email asking for urgent revisions but used all caps for emphasis. The team perceived it as shouting and became defensive. Action, the manager clarified intent, apologized, and adopted a practice of using bold text or red highlights instead of all caps. Result, restored team morale. Prevented future conflicts. Lesson, tone in digital communication is easily misinterpreted. Choose formatting and words carefully. 2.7 Strategies to improve interpersonal communication. Practice daily active listening exercises. Seek feedback on your communication style. Learn basic cross-cultural communication etiquette. Role-play difficult conversations to prepare. Use video calls instead of text for sensitive issues. 2.8 Key takeaways. Interpersonal communication is as much about listening as it is about speaking. Empathy builds bridges across cultural, emotional, and organizational divides. Clarity and tone matter, especially in digital communication. Nonverbal cues can reinforce or undermine your message. 2.9 Discussion questions. Think of a recent conflict at work. Was poor listening a factor? How could it have been handled differently? How do you ensure your emails are interpreted as intended? Which interpersonal skill do you find most challenging and why? 2.10 Practical Exercise. Pair with a colleague and conduct a 5-minute conversation where one person speaks and the other practices active listening. The listener must summarize the main points at the end without adding opinions. Switch roles and repeat. This exercise sharpens focus, improves comprehension, and trains you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Chapter 3: Written Business Communication. 3.1 Introduction. Written communication is one of the most enduring and widely used forms of business communication. From emails and reports to contracts and proposals, the ability to convey ideas clearly in writing is essential for organizational success. 3.2 Importance of written communication. Creates a record. Written communication serves as a legal and historical record. Ensures clarity. Well-crafted writing minimizes misinterpretation. Supports collaboration. Documents can be reviewed and shared across teams. Demonstrates professionalism. Polished writing builds credibility and brand image. 3.3 Characteristics of effective business writing. Clarity. Write in plain language. Avoid jargon unless necessary. Conciseness. Eliminate unnecessary words. Correctness. Grammar, punctuation, and spelling must be accurate. Tone appropriateness. Match the tone to the audience, formal, neutral, or conversational. Organization. Use headings, bullet points, and logical flow. 3.4 Common types of written business communication. Emails, for quick professional communication. Memos, internal communication for policy updates or announcements. Reports, analytical documents presenting findings and recommendations. Proposals, persuasive documents to gain approval or funding. Manuals and SOPs, detailed guides for operational processes. 3.5 Email etiquette and best practices. Use a clear subject line. Keep emails short, one main idea per message. Use professional greetings and closings. Avoid emotional or ambiguous language. Proofread before hitting send. Use CC/BCC thoughtfully to avoid information overload. 3.6 Structuring reports and proposals. Title page, clearly label the document. Executive summary, provide a concise overview. Introduction, explain purpose and scope. Body, present data analysis and findings. Conclusion and recommendations, offer actionable insights. Appendices, include supplementary material. 3.7 Case Study 1, poorly written email causes confusion. Company, marketing agency. Situation, a project manager sent a vague email about a deadline change. Some team members thought the deadline was extended, others thought it was shortened. Result, missed deadlines and a dissatisfied client. Lesson, specificity matters, dates, times, and next steps must be clearly stated. 3.8 Case Study 2, winning proposal through clear writing. Company, construction firm. Situation, the firm revamped its proposal templates to include clear headings, visuals, and a persuasive executive summary. Result, proposal win rate increased by 30% within 6 months. Lesson, investing in structured, visually appealing, and persuasive writing can directly improve business outcomes. 3.9 Tools for better writing. Grammarly or ProWriting Aid, check grammar and clarity. Hemingway app, simplify complex sentences. Templates, use standardized formats for reports, memos, and proposals. Collaboration platforms, Google Docs, Microsoft Teams, Notion for shared editing. 3.10 Key takeaways. Written communication is permanent. Clarity and professionalism are crucial. Structure and formatting enhance comprehension. Clear, well-written proposals and reports can win business. Writing tools and templates save time and reduce errors. 3.11 Discussion questions. When was the last time you misinterpreted a written message? What caused the confusion? How can you improve your email subject lines to make them clearer? What writing habits could you develop to improve your reports or proposals? 3.12 Practical exercise. Take a recent email you sent and rewrite it for maximum clarity and conciseness. Share both versions with a peer and ask which is more effective. Apply their feedback to your next real-world communication. Chapter 4: Verbal and Presentation Skills. 4.1 Introduction. Spoken communication is one of the most immediate and impactful forms of business interaction. Whether you're delivering a presentation, leading a meeting, or negotiating with clients, the ability to communicate effectively through speech can define your professional success. 4.2 The Power of Verbal Communication. Immediate feedback. Listeners can ask questions and clarify instantly. Emotional impact. Tone and delivery influence how messages are received. Relationship building. Direct interaction builds trust and rapport. Persuasion. Spoken words combined with body language can be highly influential. 4.3 Key Verbal Communication Skills. Clarity and brevity. Avoid filler words, unlike you know. Organize your thoughts before speaking. Use short, precise sentences. Tone and pitch. Match tone to the message, calm for reassurance, upbeat for motivation. Avoid monotone delivery. Use pitch variation to keep attention. Pace and pausing. Speak at a moderate pace, not too fast, not too slow. Use pauses to emphasize key points and allow listeners to absorb information. Storytelling. Stories make messages memorable and persuasive. Use real-life examples or analogies. Follow a simple structure: context, challenge, resolution, takeaway. 4.4 Presentation Skills. Structuring a presentation. Opening. Capture attention with a question, statistic, or story. Body. Present 3 to 4 key points in a logical order. Conclusion. Summarize and provide a clear call to action. Visual aids. Use slides to enhance, not overwhelm. Include minimal text and relevant visuals. Maintain consistent design and font choices. Audience engagement. Ask questions or invite participation. Make eye contact with multiple people in the room. Adjust your delivery based on audience reactions. 4.5 Running effective meetings. Prepare and share an agenda in advance. Start and end on time. Encourage participation while keeping discussions focused. Summarize decisions and assign clear action items. 4.6 Case Study 1. Transforming a dull presentation. Company, financial consulting firm. Situation. Quarterly review meetings were poorly attended and disengaging. Presenters relied heavily on spreadsheets with small fonts. Action. A new presentation format was adopted with simple charts, visual storytelling, and Q&A sessions. Result. Attendance increased by 40%. Executives acted faster on insights because they understood them more clearly. Lesson. A visually engaging and audience-focused presentation improves understanding and participation. 4.7 Case Study 2. Mastering negotiation through verbal skills. Company, SaaS startup. Situation. A sales manager used active listening and clear, confident speech to negotiate better terms with a key client. Result. The client agreed to a long-term contract. The company improved cash flow predictability. Lesson. Strong verbal communication builds credibility and strengthens negotiation outcomes. 4.8 Overcoming public speaking anxiety. Practice with smaller groups first. Use deep breathing to stay calm. Focus on the message, not on yourself. Visualize a successful presentation. 4.9 Tools and Techniques. Presentation software, PowerPoint, Keynote, Google Slides. Practice tools, record yourself and review body language. Meeting tools, Zoom, Microsoft Teams with polling or Q&A features. 4.10 Key takeaways. Verbal communication is immediate and powerful, but requires preparation. Storytelling, tone, and pacing significantly influence audience engagement. Well-structured presentations and effective meetings drive better decisions. Overcoming speaking anxiety boosts confidence and credibility. 4.11 Discussion questions. What techniques help you stay calm before an important presentation? How do you currently engage your audience during meetings? What is one area of your verbal communication you would like to improve? 4.12 Practical exercise. Prepare a 5-minute presentation on a work-related topic. Record yourself and watch for filler words, tone, and pacing. Deliver it again after making improvements and compare the results. Chapter 5. Cross-cultural and global business communication. 5.1 Introduction. In today's interconnected world, businesses operate across borders, time zones, and cultures. Effective communication in this environment requires cultural awareness, adaptability, and sensitivity. Misunderstandings caused by cultural differences can lead to lost opportunities, strained relationships, and even reputational damage. 5.2 The importance of cultural awareness. Builds trust. Respecting cultural norms fosters stronger relationships. Avoids misunderstandings. Awareness reduces the risk of offending clients or partners. Improves negotiation outcomes. Knowing cultural preferences can guide strategy. Supports global collaboration. Teams in different regions work more efficiently when communication is tailored to their context. 5.3 Key dimensions of culture affecting communication. High context versus low context cultures. High context, e.g., Japan, China, Arab countries rely on implicit communication, shared understanding, and nonverbal cues. Low context, e.g., US, Germany, Scandinavia, favor direct, explicit, and detailed communication. Power distance. High power distance cultures, e.g., India, Mexico, prefer formal communication and clear hierarchies. Low power distance cultures, e.g., Netherlands, Australia, encourage open dialogue and informality. Time orientation. Monochronic cultures, e.g., US, Switzerland, value punctuality and linear scheduling. Polychronic cultures, e.g., Brazil, Middle East, flexible with time, prioritize relationships over rigid schedules. Communication styles. Direct versus indirect. Emotional expressiveness versus restraint. Formal versus casual tone. 5.4 Language and translation challenges. Idioms and slang can confuse non-native speakers. False friends, words that look similar but have different meanings in other languages. Machine translation limits, automated tools may misinterpret nuance. Solution: use plain language, verify critical translations with professionals. 5.5 Etiquette and business practices. Greetings, handshakes, bows, or verbal salutations vary by culture. Titles and honorifics. Some cultures value formal titles, others are first name oriented. Gift giving. Common in some regions, inappropriate in others. Meeting protocol. Expectations around punctuality, agenda setting, and decision-making styles differ. 5.6 Managing remote and global teams. Use clear standardized communication channels, Slack, Teams, email. Be mindful of time zones when scheduling meetings. Rotate meeting times to share inconvenience. Document decisions in writing for clarity. Encourage cultural exchange sessions to build empathy and understanding. 5.7 Case Study 1. Cross-cultural misstep in negotiation. Company, US-based manufacturing firm. Situation. Negotiators from the US expected direct, fast-paced decision-making in Japan. They interpreted the Japanese team's silence as disinterest. Result: talks stalled and the deal was delayed. Action. The U.S. team received cultural training and learned that silence in Japan can signal thoughtful consideration, not rejection. Lesson. Cultural competence can turn potential breakdowns into breakthroughs. 5.8 Case Study 2. Building Global Team Cohesion. Company, international software firm. Situation. Remote teams across 5 countries struggled with misaligned expectations and duplicated work. Action. The company implemented a single project management tool, set clear documentation standards, and conducted virtual cultural awareness workshops. Result. Increased project efficiency by 30%. Reduced misunderstandings and rework. Improved team morale. Lesson. Standardized processes plus cultural education enhance cross-border collaboration. 5.9 Strategies for Successful Global Communication. Learn key cultural norms of major partners or clients. Use visual aids and clear documentation to supplement verbal communication. Avoid humor, slang, or idioms unless sure they translate well. Practice empathy. Consider how messages might be perceived in other contexts. 5.10 Key Takeaways. Cross-cultural competence is a business advantage. Culture influences communication style, decision-making, and trust. Remote teams require clear, standardized processes and cultural sensitivity. Ongoing learning and adaptability are essential in global business. 5.11 Discussion questions. Have you experienced a cultural misunderstanding at work? How was it resolved? How does your organization accommodate different time zones or work styles? What steps could you take to improve your cultural intelligence? 5.12 Practical exercise. Select one country where your organization has partners or clients. Research its communication style, meeting etiquette, and negotiation preferences. Write a short summary and present it to your team as a cultural briefing. Chapter 6. Digital and Virtual Communication. 6.1 Introduction. The digital age has transformed how businesses communicate. Remote work, instant messaging, and video conferencing have become standard practices. Mastering digital communication ensures teams remain productive, connected, and aligned, regardless of physical location. 6.2 Advantages of digital communication. Speed. Information is transmitted instantly. Accessibility. Teams can collaborate across time zones. Cost savings. Reduces travel expenses and meeting costs. Record keeping. Conversations can be archived and retrieved. 6.3 Challenges of virtual communication. Lack of nonverbal cues can lead to misinterpretation. Digital fatigue. Too many virtual meetings can overwhelm employees. Time zone issues. Scheduling across continents can be difficult. Technical issues. Poor internet connectivity or software glitches disrupt flow. 6.4 Key digital communication channels. Email. Best for formal, asynchronous communication. Use structured formats and clear subject lines. Instant messaging, Slack, Teams, WhatsApp. Great for quick updates and collaboration. Avoid overuse, can become distracting. Video conferencing, Zoom, Google Meet. Ideal for team meetings, presentations, and brainstorming. Use sparingly to prevent meeting overload. Project management tools, Asana, Trello, Jira. Keep teams aligned on tasks and deadlines. Provide visibility and accountability. 6.5 Virtual meeting best practices. Preparation. Share agenda and documents ahead of time. Technology check. Test audio, video, and screen sharing tools. Facilitation. Assign a moderator to guide discussion. Engagement. Use polls, chat, or breakout rooms to involve participants. Follow-up. Send meeting notes and action items afterward. 6.6 Asynchronous communication strategies. Use shared documents and wikis for updates. Record video briefings for teams in other time zones. Establish response time expectations to avoid burnout. 6.7 Digital etiquette, netiquette. Keep messages professional and concise. Avoid overuse of emojis or informal language unless appropriate. Respect working hours and use Do Not Disturb features. Mute microphones when not speaking in virtual meetings. Turn on cameras when engagement and rapport are important. 6.8 Case Study 1, Virtual Meeting Overload. Company, consulting firm. Situation: employees attended back-to-back virtual meetings leading to fatigue and missed deadlines. Action: management implemented no meeting Wednesdays and encouraged asynchronous updates. Result: productivity increased. Employee satisfaction scores rose. Lesson: balancing synchronous and asynchronous communication improves efficiency and well-being. 6.9 Case Study 2, Leveraging Digital Tools for Collaboration. Company, global e-commerce startup. Situation: teams were scattered across 4 continents, causing delays in project coordination. Action: the company standardized on Slack for quick updates and Asana for project tracking. Result: reduced email clutter by 40%. Improved project delivery times by 25%. Lesson: choosing the right tools and setting clear communication norms enhances collaboration. 6.10 Tools for effective digital communication. Slack Teams, real-time collaboration. Zoom, Google Meet, virtual meetings. Loom, asynchronous video updates. Miro, FigJam, virtual whiteboarding. Notion, Confluence, documentation and knowledge sharing. 6.11 Key Takeaways. Digital communication is powerful, but must be managed intentionally. Balance live meetings with asynchronous updates. Establish clear norms and etiquette for online communication. Choose tools that suit your team's workflow and culture. 6.12 Discussion questions. How many virtual meetings do you attend weekly? Are they all necessary? Which digital tool has most improved your productivity, and why? How does your team handle time zone differences? 6.13 Practical exercise. Audit your digital communication channels for 1 week. Categorize messages by urgency and importance. Propose changes to reduce overload and improve clarity, e.g., fewer meetings, better use of project tools. Chapter 7, Crisis Communication and Conflict Management. 7.1 Introduction. Crises are inevitable in business, from operational breakdowns and public relations disasters to internal conflicts between teams. How an organization communicates during these moments often determines whether it survives, thrives, or fails. 7.2 The nature of crisis communication. Crisis communication involves delivering timely, accurate, and reassuring information to stakeholders during a disruptive event. The goals are: containment, prevent the crisis from escalating; transparency, provide honest and factual updates; reassurance, maintain trust with employees, customers, and the public; recovery, restore reputation and business continuity. 7.3 Stages of crisis communication. Pre-crisis, prevention and preparation, risk assessment training. Crisis response, immediate communication to manage the situation. Post-crisis, analysis, lessons learned, and process improvement. 7.4 Components of an effective crisis communication plan. Crisis communication team. Identify spokespersons and decision makers. Message templates. Prepare draft statements for common scenarios. Communication channels. Define where updates will be posted: email, website, press releases. Stakeholder mapping. Know who needs to be informed: employees, customers, media, regulators. Escalation protocols. Clear process for approving messages. 7.5 Conflict management in organizations. Conflict is natural but must be addressed constructively. Common types include Interpersonal conflict, between individuals. Interdepartmental conflict, misaligned priorities between teams. Organizational conflict, systemic issues like resource allocation. Conflict resolution strategies. Collaboration, win-win solutions through open discussion. Compromise, each party gives up something to reach agreement. Accommodation, one party yields to maintain harmony. Avoidance, used for minor issues or when emotions need to cool. Competition, assertive approach when quick decisions are critical. 7.6 Communication techniques for conflict resolution. Active listening, understand all sides before responding. Neutral language, avoid blame, focus on facts. Clarification, repeat back what was said to confirm understanding. Mediation, use a neutral third party when needed. Follow-up, ensure agreements are implemented. 7.7 Case Study 1, Crisis Communication Done Right. Company, food and beverage manufacturer. Situation, a contamination issue led to a nationwide product recall. Action, the company immediately notified customers, issued refunds, and held press conferences to explain corrective measures. Result, maintained customer trust. Restored sales within 6 months. Lesson, swift, transparent, and empathetic communication limits reputational damage. 7.8 Case Study 2, Resolving Internal Conflict. Company, software development firm. Situation, tensions rose between product and sales teams over unrealistic delivery timelines. Action, management facilitated a cross-departmental workshop where both sides discussed pain points and collaboratively built a shared project timeline. Result, reduced friction. Improved delivery predictability. Strengthened interdepartmental relationships. Lesson, facilitated dialogue and joint problem-solving turned conflict into collaboration. 7.9 Best Practices for Crisis Communication and Conflict Management. Communicate early and often. Admit mistakes and outline solutions. Keep messaging consistent across all channels. Document conflicts and resolutions for future learning. Train employees in conflict resolution skills. 7.10 Key Takeaways. Crisis communication must be fast, transparent, and empathetic. Preparation is critical. Have plans and spokespersons ready. Conflict can be healthy if managed constructively. Open communication channels and a focus on collaboration reduce long-term tension. 7.11 Discussion questions. Has your organization faced a crisis recently? How was it communicated internally and externally? Which conflict resolution style do you tend to use, and is it effective? How can your team prepare better for potential crises? 7.12 Practical exercise. Draft a crisis communication template for your organization, press release plus internal memo. Role-play a conflict scenario with a colleague, and practice using active listening and neutral language. Debrief afterward to discuss what worked and what could be improved. Chapter 8. Leadership and Strategic Communication. 8.1 Introduction. Leadership communication is not just about sharing information, it is about inspiring action, aligning teams with a vision, and guiding organizations through change. Strategic communication links messaging with business objectives, ensuring that every interaction moves the company closer to its goals. 8.2 The role of leaders as communicators. Visionaries share a compelling picture of the future. Storytellers translate strategy into relatable narratives. Motivators inspire employees to contribute their best. Change agents communicate clearly during transformation. 8.3 Elements of strategic communication. Audience analysis. Understand who you are speaking to and what they care about. Message clarity. Deliver a consistent and memorable message. Channel selection, choose the right platform, town halls, emails, video messages. Timing, communicate at the right moment for maximum impact. Feedback mechanisms, allow two-way communication to gauge understanding. 8.4 Leadership communication styles. Authoritative, clear direction, good for crises. Democratic, collaborative, encourages participation. Coaching, focused on individual growth. Visionary, centers on long-term goals and purpose. Effective leaders flex their style depending on context. 8.5 Building trust through communication. Transparency, share both good and bad news. Consistency, align words with actions. Empathy, show genuine care for employee concerns. Follow through, deliver on promises. 8.6 Communicating organizational change. Change initiatives often fail due to poor communication. Successful change communication involves explaining the why behind the change, sharing the expected benefits and addressing fears, providing clear timelines and next steps, celebrating small wins to maintain momentum. 8.7 Case Study 1. Inspiring vision during transformation. Company, global telecom provider. Situation. The company was undergoing digital transformation that would impact thousands of employees. Action. The CEO hosted virtual town halls, shared personal stories about innovation, and invited employees to submit questions anonymously. Result. Increased employee buy-in. Reduced turnover during the transition. Lesson. Transparent and empathetic communication sustains morale during major organizational change. 8.8 Case Study 2. Poor leadership communication. Company, manufacturing firm. Situation. Management rolled out new processes without explaining the rationale. Employees resisted, causing delays. Result. Production targets were missed. Employee trust declined. Lesson. Failing to communicate the why behind change can create resistance and damage engagement. 8.9 Tools for strategic leadership communication. Intranet portals, centralized updates. Video messages, personalized leadership messaging. Pulse surveys, collect quick employee feedback. Leadership blogs or newsletters, keep teams informed and inspired. 8.10 Key takeaways. Leaders must be clear, consistent, and empathetic communicators. Strategic communication aligns employees with organizational goals. Change communication requires transparency, timing, and engagement. Feedback loops help leaders adjust messaging for maximum impact. 8.11 Discussion questions. How does your organization communicate its vision and strategy? Which leadership communication style resonates most with you and why? What steps could your leaders take to improve transparency and trust? 8.12 Practical exercise. Draft a one-page vision statement for a hypothetical change initiative. Present it to peers and gather feedback on clarity and inspiration. Revise the message based on feedback and note how it becomes more persuasive. Chapter 9. Branding and External Communication. 9.1 Introduction. External communication shapes how the world sees your organization. From customer interactions to press releases and social media posts, every message contributes to your brand identity. Strategic external communication builds trust, strengthens reputation, and drives customer loyalty. 9.2 The role of branding in communication. Consistency. Messaging must reflect the organization's mission, vision, and values. Recognition. A clear brand voice makes communication instantly identifiable. Trust. Consistent, honest communication builds long-term relationships with customers. 9.3 Key audiences for external communication. Customers and clients, product information, support updates. Investors, financial reports, earnings calls, strategic direction. Media, press releases, interviews, public statements. Regulators, compliance reports and official submissions. General public, social responsibility efforts, community engagement. 9.4 External communication channels. Public relations, PR, press releases, media kits, crisis statements. Marketing, advertising campaigns, newsletters, promotional materials. Customer service, help desks, chatbot support teams. Social media, two-way engagement with audiences in real time. Events and conferences, product launches, keynote speeches. 9.5 Crafting the brand voice. Tone, formal, friendly, or playful depending on audience. Language, consistent terminology across all platforms. Values, reinforce the organization's mission through communication. 9.6 Customer communication best practices. Respond promptly to inquiries and complaints. Use clear, jargon-free language. Personalize messages where possible. Show empathy and offer solutions rather than excuses. 9.7 Media relations. Build relationships with journalists before you need them. Be proactive with good news and transparent with bad news. Train spokespersons to stay on message and handle tough questions. 9.8 Social media strategy. Choose platforms where your audience is most active. Maintain a posting schedule and consistent voice. Monitor mentions and respond to feedback quickly. Have a plan for addressing negative comments or viral crises. 9.9 Case Study 1 Successful brand reinforcement. Company, sports apparel brand. Situation. The brand launched a campaign focusing on sustainability, sharing behind-the-scenes videos of eco-friendly production. Result. Increased customer engagement on social media. Boosted sales of new sustainable product line by 20%. Lesson. Authentic storytelling that aligns with values strengthens customer loyalty. 9.10 Case Study 2 PR misstep. Company, tech firm. Situation. The company delayed responding to a data breach, causing public backlash. Result. Loss of customer trust. Negative press coverage and regulatory scrutiny. Lesson. Timely, transparent external communication is essential during crises. 9.11 Tools for managing external communication. CRM platforms track customer interactions. Media monitoring tools, Hootsuite, Meltwater for tracking brand mentions. Press release distribution services, PR Newswire, Business Wire. Social listening tools, Sprout Social, Brandwatch. 9.12 Key takeaways. External communication defines how the world perceives your business. Consistent brand voice builds recognition and trust. Proactive media and customer engagement prevent crises from escalating. Social media is a powerful but risky tool. Plan carefully. 9.13 Discussion questions. How consistent is your organization's communication across different channels? What steps could you take to improve media relationships? How should your company handle negative social media feedback? 9.14 Practical exercise. Audit your company's website and social media accounts. Identify whether the brand voice is consistent and professional. Recommend 3 improvements to enhance clarity, engagement, or trust building. Chapter 10. Measuring and improving business communication. 10.1 Introduction. Communication is only as valuable as the results it delivers. In today's data-driven business environment, measuring communication effectiveness helps organizations refine their strategies, improve engagement, and achieve better outcomes. 10.2 Why measure communication? Alignment. Ensure messaging supports organizational goals. Effectiveness. Identify which channels work best. Efficiency. Eliminate redundant or ineffective communication. Continuous improvement. Make data-backed adjustments to maximize impact. 10.3 Key communication metrics. Internal communication metrics. Engagement rates, attendance in meetings, intranet usage, open rates for internal newsletters. Feedback scores, employee surveys, sentiment analysis. Knowledge retention, post-training quizzes, error rate reduction. External communication metrics. Media mentions, quantity and sentiment of press coverage. Customer engagement, social media interactions, click-through rates. Brand perception, Net Promoter Score, NPS, customer satisfaction surveys. Conversion rates, leads generated from marketing campaigns. 10.4 Tools for measuring communication. Analytics dashboards, Google Analytics for website performance. Email metrics, open and click rates from platforms like MailChimp. Employee engagement platforms, Office Vibe, CultureAmp for feedback. Social media listening tools, Sprout Social, Hootsuite. Surveys and polls, collect qualitative and quantitative data. 10.5 Creating a communication scorecard. A communication scorecard helps track progress over time. Objectives, define what success looks like. KPIs, identify measurable indicators. Baseline data, record current performance. Targets, set realistic goals. Review cycle, regularly assess and adjust. 10.6 Analyzing data for insights. Look for patterns, e.g., engagement spikes after certain announcements. Segment results by audience type, employees, customers, media. Identify gaps where communication failed to reach or resonate. 10.7 Continuous improvement loop. Plan, develop communication strategy. Execute, implement across chosen channels. Measure, track KPIs and collect feedback. Analyze, find what worked and what didn't. Optimize, adjust strategy and repeat. 10.8 Case Study 1. Improving internal communication. Company, healthcare organization. Situation, low participation in employee town halls led to poor information flow. Action, HR introduced anonymous pulse surveys to understand why. Based on feedback, they switched to shorter, more focused virtual sessions. Result, attendance increased by 45%. Employee satisfaction scores improved. Lesson, measurement uncovers obstacles and guides more effective formats. 10.9 Case Study 2. Optimizing external campaigns. Company, B2B SaaS provider. Situation, marketing emails had low open rates and poor lead conversion. Action, the company ran A/B tests on subject lines, segmented audiences, and optimized send times. Result, open rates improved by 30%. Lead conversion doubled. Lesson, data-driven iteration leads to measurable ROI. 10.10 Common pitfalls in communication measurement. Tracking too many metrics without focus. Ignoring qualitative feedback. Relying on vanity metrics, likes, impressions, without linking to outcomes. Failing to act on insights. 10.11 Key takeaways. Communication must be tied to business outcomes. Use a mix of quantitative and qualitative data. Regularly review performance and refine strategies. Treat measurement as a continuous process, not a one-time activity. 10.12 Discussion questions. Which communication metrics are most important for your organization? How often do you review internal and external communication performance? What tools could help your team gain better insights? 10.13 Practical exercise. Choose one internal and one external communication channel. Define success metrics for each, e.g., employee engagement score, email click-through rate. Track results for 4 weeks and propose data-driven improvements. Conclusion, mastering business communication. Recap of key lessons. This book explored business communication from multiple dimensions: interpersonal, written, verbal, cross-cultural, digital, crisis management, leadership, branding, and measurement. The core theme across all chapters is clear: Effective communication is the foundation of organizational success. Major takeaways. Chapter 1. Understand the fundamentals, communication models, barriers, and principles. Chapter 2. Build strong interpersonal skills with active listening and emotional intelligence. Chapter 3. Write with clarity and professionalism in reports, emails, and proposals. Chapter 4. Deliver persuasive presentations and speak confidently. Chapter 5. Master cross-cultural communication for global business success. Chapter 6. Balance synchronous and asynchronous digital communication. Chapter 7. Prepare for crises and manage internal conflict constructively. Chapter 8. Lead with vision and align communication with strategy. Chapter 9. Shape external perception through consistent branding and media relations. Chapter 10. Measure communication effectiveness and use data for continuous improvement. The future of business communication. Communication will continue to evolve with technology. AI-driven chatbots, immersive virtual meetings, and real-time translation tools will further connect teams across the globe. But the human element, empathy, trust, and authenticity will remain the most critical factor. Action plan for readers. Audit. Assess your current communication practices, personal and organizational. Prioritize. Focus on the most critical areas for improvement first. Develop skills. Practice active listening, writing, and public speaking regularly. Adopt tools. Use digital platforms that streamline collaboration. Measure and adjust. Track engagement and refine your communication approach over time. Final thought. Communication is not a one-time effort, it is a lifelong practice. Leaders, employees, and organizations that continuously improve how they communicate will build stronger relationships, achieve better results, and remain resilient in an ever-changing business world. Master communication, and you master business.